Hi, Devlin here, and welcome to Misunderstood Movies. Before we begin, I remind people this is my opinion and belief. You can disagree with me, and please comment if you do or don't in the comment section below, but please be nice about it. We're all movie fans here, and that's what's truly important. Be respectful to all. Today I look at the case of Mame, the 1974 musical comedy directed by Gene Saks, starring Lucille Ball, Bruce Davison, B. Arthur, Kirby Furlong, Jane Connell, and Robert Preston. The screenplay was written by Paul Zindel and Patrick Dennis, adapted from Patrick Dennis's original novel Auntie Mame, as well as the 1958 film and 1966 Broadway musical. What people expected was another successful retelling of a beloved novel which already had a hit film and smash Broadway musical. What they got was a train wreck of a film that relied too heavily on the most successful TV star of its time. In 1974, Lucille Ball was probably the biggest television personality of its time. She's changed the TV landscape for women and sitcoms, starring in 3 very successful TV shows in a row: I Love Lucy, The Lucy Show, and Here's Lucy. Her film career was not as successful, but she did manage a few hits along the way. But Warner Brothers took a huge risk on her when they acquired the rights to the Broadway musical Auntie Mame. Auntie Mame had already seen a success as a novel, comedy film starring Rosalind Russell, and the Broadway stage musical, which this film was adapted from. Patrick Dennis wrote the novel about his madcap escapades with his loving and eccentric, full-of-life aunt. Although he uses his own name as the lead character, and most assume that is an autobiographic telling of his own real-life experiences, the author himself has claimed even though he writes in the first person, and the ideas come from his very real father's sister, it is still fictional and exaggerated. That didn't stop the world's affection for these stories, turning Auntie Mame into one of the best-selling American books of the 20th century and bringing success to every adaptation it has ever seen, until this 1974 movie made its debut, which was considered to be a major disaster and misstep. Warner Brothers did all it could to bring the magic of the successful Broadway play to the big screen, bringing back stage actors like B. Arthur and Jane Connell, and even hiring the stage director Gene Saks to take on the film, having a few movie credits under his belt already. The Broadway musical was a major success and swept the Tony Awards that year, winning Best Musical and awards for B. Arthur and the Mame lead, Angela Lansbury. Warner Brothers passed on Lansbury and decided it was a perfect vehicle to bring Lucy back to the big screen. This was the biggest misstep, to pass on the original lead, hoping a legend like Lucy could bring them into the theaters. Now, I won't badmouth Lucille Ball too much. I'm a huge fan of hers, and I did have a lot of fun with this film, but she is badly cast in the part. She was too old for the role in her 60s. The movie uses a weird glow for her close-ups that become more and more distracting as the movie goes on. Lucy was also not known for her great singing ability. She does fine, but her limitations in song and dance are noticeable. She is not the only problem in this. There is a lot of overacting, and there are a lot of actors guilty of this, not just Lucy. B. Arthur, who won a Tony for this role on stage, even has admitted she's embarrassed by her performance in this film. The dance scenes are hit and miss, and the songs are sadly not memorable, all except We Need a Little Christmas, which has gone on to be a seasonal favorite. The biggest problem to me, even bigger than Miss Ball's miscasting, is the script. By trying to wedge in so much of Auntie Mame's shenanigans and song and dance numbers, we lose a lot of the heart of the original 1958 movie, which is the relationship between Patrick and Mame. In fact, Patrick disappears a lot in this version, which is supposed to be his take on the situation. I still enjoyed Mame, but I can see why people have issues with it. Lucille Ball still brings a lot of charm to this film, but sadly it became her final big screen film role. She was raked over the coals for this film and blamed for all its issues. But the misunderstanding is there was a lot more problems with this adaptation than just its lead being miscast. Now let me know what you thought in the comments, and let's have a conversation about this film. Are you one of those who thought this movie was bad and one of the worst Broadway-to-screen adaptations? Or are you like me and consider Mame a misunderstood movie?